just want to say congratulations on your 37,000 subscribers on YouTube. On behalf of all the BSA students, I just want to thank you for making these videos and making online classes easier for us.
Hi everyone! Welcome to Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH. I am Christine, a sophomore BS Management Accounting student. Today, Sir Chua will be discussing our final lesson in Strategic Cost Management, Transfer Pricing, and Pricing Decisions. At the end of the video, we students are expected to first, define what transfer pricing is. Second, explain the objective of transfer pricing. Third, describe the different bases of transfer pricing such as market, cost, and negotiation. Fourth, describe the different major influences on pricing decisions. Fifth, set prices using different cost bases of cost plus pricing formulas. And lastly, compute for the percentage of markup based on the different kinds of cost. Please do not forget to like this video, share it with your friends and classmates, and subscribe to Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH. Also, please click the notification bell button to alert you of Sir Chua's latest video lesson. Lastly, please comment down your questions, suggestions, and reaction. And now, here's our management accounting trainer to teach us transfer pricing and pricing decision, Professor Kevin Troy M. Chua.
Hello everybody, welcome to Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH, and this is our final lesson for Strategic Cost Management, Transfer Pricing, and Pricing Decisions. Again, this is your Management Accounting Trainer, Kevin Troy M. Chua. Thank you very much for trusting Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH as your online learning partner. And today's featured subscriber is Mr. Steaphen Kyle Velasquez from National University, Manila campus. Steaphen, thank you very much for your support for Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH. Again, maraming salamat po, and sa lahat po ng patuloy na sumusuporta sa Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH, again, maraming salamat po. Okay, so let's start. Our previous lesson was about responsibility accounting, performance measurements, balance scorecards, and non-financial performance evaluation. And this is actually a continuation ng ating konsepto ng responsibility accounting and how we will be using this sa ating pong performance measurement. And ito po ay tinatawag nating transfer pricing. Transfer price is the price at which products and services are transferred between two subunits in an entity. So, if you will be looking into it on a very light perspective, ang titingnan lang po natin dyan is, meron tayong two separate divisions or two separate segments or two different subunits na magta-transfer tayo ng product or services from one segment to another. Ngayon, yung pagta-transfer po natin ng product or services from one segment to another, meron po siyang kaakibat na tinatawag nating price or may isa-set po tayong price doon. Ang tawag po doon is transfer price. Okay? One division of an entity manufactures a part or component. These parts or components can be transferred to another division which uses the part or component. So, pwede po kasi may possibility na yung isang segment, siya yung nagmamanufacture or gumagawa ng component na yon. Tapos yung component na yon, kailangan pala siya dun sa kabilang division or dun sa kabilang segment. Okay? Although, nandun din po yung possibility na yung gumagawa ng product, service, or component na yon is ino-offer din nila sa labas or sa final consumers yung kanilang products. Okay? So, transfer price will then refer now to the amount that is charged when one division sells goods or services to another division. Okay? Transfer price will affect the internal profit measurement of both the buying division and the selling division. Since profit is affected, transfer pricing affects the performance evaluation of every responsibility center, and more so if your responsibility center is a profit center or investment center. Ganito po kasi, on a managerial accounting perspective, di ba po, kapag ka po separate divisions or departments or subsidiaries ng companies, sila po ay mga profit and investment centers sa atin. So, pag ginamitan po natin ang transfer price, nagkakaroon po tayo ng internal measurement ng profit both for the buying division and the selling division. But you need to take into consideration na ito po ay internal lamang, no? Internal profit measurement po yan. Bakit po natin tinatawag ngayon na internal lang? On a financial accounting perspective po kasi, meron po tayong tinatawag na parent-subsidiary relationships. So, kung isang buong company kayo, tapos kunyari, sabihin natin, mga profit or investment centers sila na separate divisions or separate entities. Pag nag-transfer sila ng one product or service to another entity within the same consolidated entity, parang nagiging intercompany transaction po kasi yon at kino-consolidate po natin. On the perspective of advanced accounting, hindi po dapat tayo nagkakaroon ng transactions sa sarili nating company, no? Parang ini-eliminate po natin yung mga intercompany transactions kapag ka-consolidation. So, ang transfer pricing po kasi is if an entity is a subsidiary, for example, and in managerial accounting, it's an investment center. When you are transferring goods or services to another entity, what happens is, ang perspective na natin dyan, nagiging internal transaction na lang talaga siya nung isang buong entity na yon. And yung price na ginamit po para mag-transfer ng one good to another, ang tawag po natin dun is transfer pricing. Kasi, nag-transfer ka from one division to another or nag-transfer ka ng goods or services from one investment center to another investment center. In financial accounting, yung investment center na yan, 'di ba? Best example natin diyan, mga standalone entities na merong sariling profit measurement, merong income statement, saka balance sheet. O ano po ba yung best example nun? Di ba mga subsidiary? On the concept of financial accounting, kino-consolidate po natin sila as one whole entity. So parang ang nangyayari, mga internal transactions lang siya within the group itself. So yung transfer pricing po natin is may apply po natin kapag ka po ang isang investment or profit center is nagpasa ng goods or services nila with a transfer price to another entity. Yun po yung sinasabi nating transfer pricing. It only affects, as to managerial accounting it only affects the internal profit or loss measurement of that specific division, whether it is a buying division or a selling division. Okay, so ano pong mangyayari kapag ka po mataas ang transfer price? So it will be a higher profit to the selling division and lower profit kasi dahil mataas ang purchase price, so mataas ang cost, no? Due to increased cost, the profit of the buying division will be lower. However, kung meron naman po tayong low transfer price, it will provide a lower profit to the selling division kasi mababa nga po yung transfer price. But it's a higher profit for the buying division kasi yung cost of purchase natin bumaba naman. But again, i-reiterate ko lang po sa inyo, transfer prices are only used for internal reporting purposes. Okay? In an entity that has independent segments, units, or divisions. Kasi po, yung mga independent segments, units, or divisions na yan, baka po sila ay mga investment centers na standalone companies in reality na kino-consolidate lang kapag ka po consolidated FS na yung ginagawa natin. And also, if there are multinational companies with different segments across the globe or multinational po ang operations nila, in the transfer price, you also need to consider different international laws and tax regulations. Kaya nga po minsan, may mga separate departments ang mga accounting firms sa tax compliance as to transfer pricing. Okay? So, yun po. Why do we need to consider transfer pricing? Magagamit po kasi natin ang transfer pricing sa performance evaluation ng different responsibility centers. And ang pinaka-chinecheck po natin kapag ka po gumagamit tayo ng transfer pricing is the measurement of internal profitability. Setting a transfer price promotes goal congruence, the interest of both the division and the entity in its totality. So alam naman po natin kapag ka decentralized ang company, isa sa dapat nating i-maintain kahit po yung power or authority ng decision-making process is nasa managers na ng different responsibility centers natin. Yung objective nila as one whole entity, pare-pareho pa rin. So, makakatulong po ang transfer pricing sa ganon. Hindi tayo magcha-charge ng sobrang taas na transfer price para lamang mataas yung internal profitability natin kasi magsasuffer naman yung kasama nating segment, no? So, kailangan din natin silang isipin. So, parang because of transfer pricing, nagkakaroon tayo ng damayan at a certain point, no? So, transfer pricing will promote goal congruence because we are also thinking about the totality of the entity and not just only the internal measurement of the profitability within that same division or segment or responsibility center. Kaya po tayo pwedeng gumamit ng transfer prices. And also, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, bakit po nagkakaroon ng transfer pricing? Kung sakaling sila ay standalone entities or in managerial accounting, they are investment centers, they are actually operating on their own. And they have their own financial statements. So talagang parang nagkakaroon po tayo ng bentahan dito. But in managerial accounting, it's actually a transfer price. Okay? So yun po yun. Okay, so the transfer price is actually equal to your outlay cost plus opportunity cost. When we say outlay cost, these are the direct variable costs of the product or service and other costs that are incurred as a result of the transfer. No? So basically po, outlay cost is kung magkano po yung cost na nagastos natin as a result of the transfer. Kasama na rin po dyan yung mga, yun nga po, variable cost natin. Usually, fixed cost hindi kasama kasi whether you transfer it to outsiders or to your co-segment or co-division, fixed cost will still be the same. And that is also a perspective or a concept that we apply in opportunity cost because ang opportunity cost naman is kung sakaling ibebenta ko sana siya sa labas, ano yung mawawala sa akin? Basically, ibenta mo man sa labas or hindi. Or ibenta mo man sa labas or ibenta mo sa internally lang sa next division or segment, you will still incur the same fixed cost. So, ang nangyayari, yung mawawalang contribution margin, kung sakali sanang binenta mo siya sa labas, yun yung opportunity cost mo. So, your transfer price would be the outlay cost ng nagastos mo in manufacturing the product or in transferring the product at variable cost, and then opportunity cost na kung sakali sanang nabenta ko siya sa labas, ano yung mawawala sa akin. Okay? So, yan po yung transfer price. Now, we have three general methods of transfer pricing. Pwedeng cost-based lang na nakadepende po yung transfer price natin sa cost of production, whether it may be measured on absorption costing or variable costing. Pwede rin pong market-based transfer price na yung transfer price natin binabase natin sa market prices. What if the subunits are independent entities? And then negotiated transfer price naman po is an intra-company price set through negotiation between selling and buying managers. So, pagka negotiated transfer price, you are just negotiating it, no? Pinag-uusapan ng dalawang managers, the selling and the buying managers would have to agree on one transfer price. Yun po yung negotiated transfer price. Applyan na natin ang problem para mas maintindihan nyo. The Bjeng Company operates both Dayon segment and Cheong segment. Dayon segment produces component A that is necessary in the processing of the products offered by Dabcheng, but can also be sold to outside customers. So, pwedeng gamitin sa loob ng Dabcheng, pwedeng gamitin ni Cheong segment, pwede ring ibenta sa labas si component A. Dabcheng decided for Dayon to transfer 10,000 units of component A to Cheong at 68. Pero kung ibebenta kasi ni Dayon sa labas yung component A, they're actually selling it to customers at 120. So, tingnan yung mabuti yung nagiging scenario natin. Dayon is actually a standalone company because it can actually sell that component to customers at 120 pesos. Pero, as one entity, it is also a separate segment and co-segment niya si Cheong segment within the Bjeng Company. Parang ganon. So, parang on the perspective of advanced accounting or financial accounting rather, para tayo nagko-consolidated FS talaga, no? Nagkakaroon lang ng internal transactions. Okay? Variable cost per unit is 43 and then fixed cost per unit based on normal operations is 12. However, Dayon is currently operating at full capacity. What will be the minimum transfer price that Dayon should accept kung ita-transfer niya yung 10,000 units kay Cheong? Ganito mo lang siya titignan lagi. If Dayon is currently operating at full capacity, meron siyang ilalaglag na normal sales to outsiders para matugunan yung 10,000 units na ita-transfer niya kay Cheyong. So, ganito po ang magiging transfer price natin. Whatever happens, your 12 pesos fixed cost will be incurred. So, that is not part of your outlay cost anymore. Pero, ang transfer price mo sa kanya, you will consider the 43 pesos variable cost. So, outlay cost mo yan. And then, your opportunity cost is, kung sakaling ibebenta ko na lang sana sa labas yung 10,000 units, di sana, hindi ako mawawalan ng 120 pesos minus 43 pesos na variable cost. So, may mawawala sa akin contribution margin na 77 per unit kung sakali sanang yung 10,000 units na mabebenta ko sa labas. So, your minimum transfer price to accept is 43 plus 77, 120. So, pag tinanong kayo, if Dobcheng management tells Dayon to transfer it to Cheyong at 68, Dayon would have to reject. Kasi the minimum transfer price for that should be 120 in order for them to cover yung variable cost per unit nung mismong component A and yung mawawalang contribution margin based on the 10,000 units na sana nabenta niya sa labas kesa tinransfer kay Cheyong. Again, the 12 pesos fixed cost will not matter anymore because whether you whether you sell it outside or you transfer it to Cheyong, it would just still be the same. Okay? So, the minimum transfer price is 120. Ibahin natin ng konti. Same problem, pero what if Dayon has now excess capacity to answer the 10,000 units to Cheyong? So, wala na tayong mawawalang sales to outsiders, pero ang mangyayari, pag nag-transfer tayo kay Cheyong, kaya natin gawin yung 10,000 units. So, ganito mangyayari. The outlay cost is 43 at dahil wala namang mawawala sa akin, whether ibenta natin sa labas yan or hindi, and I have excess capacity to transfer that to Cheyong, so I have no opportunity cost or that. So, the transfer price is 43 minimum. But if Dobcheng management tells Dayon to transfer it to Cheyong at 68, o di mas lalo tayong papayag dyan. Kasi ang minimum transfer price lang 43, pinapabenta ng 68. No problem, di ba? Pag problem 3 naman, same pa din. Pero ang sinabi kasi, Dobcheng decided for Dayon to transfer 10,000 units with a special modification. So, meron na tayong medyo pasadya. And another thing is, full capacity na si Dayon. So, parang Dobcheng company is actually asking Dayon, no? Parang parent company nila kasi yung Dobcheng, no? So, parang ang nangyayari, you do this special modification and you have to transfer 10,000 on that to Cheyong. So, parang double whammy. May pinapagawa ka na sa aking special modification. Kailangan ko pang ibigay yung 10,000 kay Cheyong na dapat normal sales ko na lang. So, paano magiging minimum price mo dyan? Remember lang natin dito sa problem na in producing the product or component A with a special modification, the variable cost becomes 68. Mas mahal na, no? So, your outlay cost is not 43 anymore. Kasi ang kino-consider natin dito yung special modification. So, your outlay cost would be 68. Okay? Pero ang opportunity cost mo is ganito pa din, 120 minus 43. Bakit? Kasi hindi naman special modification yung binibenta mo sa labas. Pero, ang mangyayari, kahit may special modification, kung i-answer ko tong 10,000 units kay Cheyong, mawawala sa akin yung normal sales eh. 'Di ba? So, 77 pa rin yung opportunity cost ko. So, 68 plus 77, 145. I-reject ko pag 70. Kasi ang minimum transfer price ko, 145. Pero yung problem 4, ganun pa din. Pero, what if meron ng excess capacity si Dayon? Wala tayong problema sa mga problem na may excess capacity kasi pagka ganun, wala tayong opportunity cost. So, the transfer price is 68 minimum. Okay? So, yun po yung konsepto natin ng transfer pricing. There might be parent entities who's deciding for each of their segments or different subsidiaries, and they have to talk about their transfer prices in order for them to achieve goal congruence, and you can also use transfer pricing in order for you to measure the internal profitability of the entity as a whole on a managerial accounting perspective. And that is transfer pricing, and we move on to another pricing decision na topic, which is, from the word itself, pricing decisions. Selling price is of paramount importance when talking about profitability because it is the first line item that we consider in the income statement, which is your sales revenue or service revenue. And why is it very important? Because your selling price spells out the amount of revenue that you have. Well, it's actually also based on the sales volume or the number of services that you provided. But kakambal kasi nun is magkano mo ba sinisingil yung products or services mo. So, it's very important na pag-decidean at pagplanuhan natin ng maayos kung magkano po ba talaga yung presyo na ilalabas natin sa merkado. Setting selling prices is a challenge for any entity due to the numerous factors that may be considered. Well, you can just consider cost and then patungan mo na lang ng markup mo in order for you to get the selling price. But there is no perfect formula in setting selling prices because it has different factors, market events, even geographical locations, and actions of your competitors. You also have to consider that. So, it calls now for a highly strategic decision-making process because marami tayong factors na kailangang i-consider dahil wala nga pong perfect formula to determine the price that you need to set. We have different factors that affect selling prices. So, we have cost of production. Pag cost of production po is, ang nangyayari, ito ang iyong baseline consideration. Kasi syempre, bakit siya tinawag na baseline consideration? Ito yung cost of production ko. So, syempre, yung selling price ko should be able to cover yung ginastos ko para magawa tong product nito. And at the same time, kailangan tumubo din naman ako. May margin naman ako. 'Di ba? Hindi ako basta-basta magse-set ng presyo. Kailangan ko i-consider yung ginastos ko para ma-produce tong product na to. And at the same time, dapat tumubo ako. However, we are also affected by different government laws and regulations. So, meron po tayong mga industries na naka-under ng price regulations such as gas and oil. 'Di ba? May mga ganon, no? By the government, nire-regulate. And also, dapat po yung mga prices natin should be able to answer kung ano man po yung current laws and regulations natin sa territory na nasaan yung business natin and taxation. Okay? So, titingnan din natin, no? Baka nga po, profitable tayo before tax, pero pagkabayad ng tax, lugi tayo. Di ba? So, iiwasan natin yun. Di ba? Wala na pala tayo pambayad ng tax. Di ba? Okay? So, yun. And then also, economy, market forces are also present because there are some industries that merong industry leader and sometimes if they are the industry leaders, they are the price makers. So, kung ikaw lang yung sunod-sunuran at competitor ka niya at gusto mo siyang mahigitan or mapantayan man lang, you are actually using the prices, these prices, di ba? You will be using these prices and you will be just taking these prices, okay? Okay, and then you also have to consider the actions of your competitors, no? Prices are also largely affected by the prices being set by the competitors, most especially for substitute goods. If the prices of competitors drop, you don't want your industry to be viewed as selling the same items at a higher price, no? So, kasi titingnan mo ding mabuti yung mga competitor mo eh. And usually kasi kapag may competitors mo sila kasi pare-pareho kayo ng products. Kasi, in economics, you are actually substitute goods. Kung wala ka, pwede siya. Kung wala to, pwede siya. No? Paano kung yung competitor mo nakapagbaba ng presyo? So, syempre, yung presyo mo din, wala kang magagawa. Kailangan mo ibaba. Because you don't want your industry to be viewed as selling the same items at a higher price. Kasi kung mas nabababa nila yung presyo, talo ka. Anong strategy mo? Kailangan pantayan ko yung presyo niya. Paano? Iisip ka ngayon ng mga paraan or adjustments in your operations kung paano mo mapapantayan ngayon yung presyo niya. Kasi, napababa niya yung presyo niya, paano ka? 'Di ba? So, yung selling price mo, affected na. Action pa lang ng competitors yun, hindi mo pa kino-consider yung cost mo. 'Di ba? And also, customer demand. So, basically kasi we have this thing that we call like perception ng consumers sa products mo. So, ang nangyayari kasi is, kung ano man yung perception nila sa products mo, titignan nila kung, ito bang presyong to fit para dito sa produkto na binibenta niya? Doon lumalabas ngayon yung concept na baka masyadong mahal or masyadong mura, parang ganon, no? How do your customers perceive your product as to prices? Yun yung customer demand na pinag-uusapan natin. And also, your products should be able to answer not only the demand but the need by the consumers, no? So, isa po yun sa kailangan mo ring i-consider in setting selling prices. Okay, so let's have this problem number 5, which is selling prices without target income. So, itong pong problem 5 natin is meron lang po tayong information, and then from that information, kukuhanan natin ng selling price. Yun lang. Wala po tayong target income dito na pag-uusapan. An entity provides the following information for the production of 10,000 units of product C. So, meron po tayong direct materials na 14 per unit, direct labor na 12 per unit, variable overhead na 5 per unit, fixed overhead na 60,000 for all of the 10,000 units of production, variable GSA, general selling administrative expenses of 3 per unit, and 40,000 na fixed GSA. So, ang gusto daw pong maging markup is 40%, no, on these different bases. What will be your selling price for the following? Okay, so for number 1, based on all variable costs. So, kung lahat lang ng variable costs, so direct materials na 14, labor na 12, and then manufacturing overhead na 5, at saka variable GSA na 3, kasi variable cost po. So, kasama si variable GSA na 3. So, your variable cost per unit is 34. If that's where you be placing the 40% markup, you just simply multiply it by the 1.4 na multiplier, 100%, and then the 40% pa na idadagdag mo, kaya 1.4. So, your selling price is 47.6. For number 2, based on all manufacturing costs, so materials na 14, labor na 12, variable overhead na 5, at fixed overhead na 60,000 divided by 10, which is 6. So, add everything, that's 37 times 1.4, 51.8. Kung based naman po sa product and period cost, so kung product and period cost, di lahat, 14, 12, variable overhead na 5, fixed na 6, variable GSA na 3, at fixed na 4. So, everything, 44 times 1.4, selling price is 61.6. Paano naman po kung yung 40% markup is based on sales, pero ang cost basis mo is absorption cost? So, kung absorption cost is materials, labor, variable overhead, and fixed overhead, tatanggalin mo si variable GSA and variable fixed expenses, so 37. Kaso, yung 37 mo ngayon ng absorption cost mo. Kung 40% mo is based on the selling price, so your 37 is represented by 60%. So, 37 divided by 0.6, you get your selling price of 61.67, and your markup is 24.67. Kasi po, yung 40% naka-based on sales. Kasi yung number 1, 2, and 3 natin, markup based on cost. Ito naman po, markup based on sales to get your selling price. Okay? So, yan po yung ating problem 5. Problem 6 po tayo, selling prices with target income. Ito naman po, meron po tayong ROI measurement or target income. The following information is made available by Meow Company. So, we have variable manufacturing cost of 200,000, variable general selling general selling and administrative expenses of 50,000, and then fixed manufacturing cost of 100,000, and fixed GSA of 20,000. The amount of capital investments is 500,000, 500 units ang benta, and then the rate of return is 10%. So your ROI is 10%. What will be your selling price and markup percentage kung ang magiging basis mo is full cost as in lahat or variable cost lang, and then manufacturing cost lang, iwan ang GSA. Hindi iwan pamilya ha, iwan ang GSA. Okay. So, ganito natin siya analyze, no? If your average capital investment is 500,000 and your ROI is 10%, you are expecting a profit of 50,000. So, just get all of these costs for a total cost of 370,000. You add your target profit. So, this is your selling price required. You divide it by the number of sales in units, then your selling price per unit should be 840. Or you can also do it like this way. Ihiwalay mo lang sila. By profit at saka by cost. Tapos cost plus profit, selling price. So, by profit, 50,000 divided by 500. Target profit per unit is 100. Then your total cost is 370. And then if your sales in units is 500, your cost per unit is 740. So, kung nakuha na natin yung profit per unit at saka cost per unit, pag-aadin mo lang. Cost per unit plus target profit per unit is your selling price per unit. Dito, inad mo muna lahat. Total cost plus target profit divided by number of units. Dito naman, naka per unit na yung profit mo at saka yung cost mo, yun na yung selling price per unit mo. Now, ano ngayon ang markup percentage mo kung full cost ang pag-uusapan natin? We use this formula. Markup percentage is equals to target profit plus other cost over the product of annual sales and cost base per unit. So, ganito po siya. Your target profit kanina is yung 50,000. Wala kang other cost kasi full cost ang iyong basis or cost base. So, dahil full cost, walang tira, walang maiiwan. So, lahat yan, 250, 100, 200. Okay? So, wala kang other cost. Annual sales mo is 500 and then na-compute na naman natin kanina that your cost per unit is 740. So, ang mangyayari, 50,000 divided by 370,000, your markup percentage is 13.51%. Coming from that markup percentage based on full cost, you just have to multiply it, yung full cost natin na 740 per unit times 1.1351 and you will still get your selling price of 840. Dapat pareho lang. Magkakaiba lang tayo sa magiging markup percentage. Depende sa basis mo. Gawin natin ngayon yung number 2. Paano kung ang basis mo total variable cost lang? Kung total variable cost lang, so ang target profit mo will be 50,000 pa rin. So your other cost will be, kung ang basis mo ay variable cost, ang other cost mo ngayon si fixed cost. So magkano fixed cost mo? 100 tsaka 20, 120,000. Eh ano ang cost basis mo? Lahat ng variable cost. So 200 plus 50 na variable cost. Okay? So, divided by 500 units. Okay? Or you can just simply do it mathematically, cancel out mo si 500 kasi pareho lang naman. Multiplication tsaka division. So, pareho lang. Okay? So, that will be 170,000 divided by 250. Your markup percentage based on variable cost basis naman is 68%. So, you just have to multiply the 500 cost base per unit. Saan ang galing po yan? 250,000 divided by 500 units. Cost base per unit is lahat ng variable cost per unit, 500 multiplied by the markup percentage, cost plus multiplier of 1.68. Your selling price would still be 840. Dapat pareho pa din. Okay? Magkakaiba ka lang sa markup percentage kasi iba-iba na yung basis mo. So, apply natin ngayon sa number 3. Sa number 3 naman, target profit mo is 50. So, kung manufacturing cost mo ngayon ang basis, anong other cost mo? Kung manufacturing cost ang basis, ang other cost mo ngayon is yung GSA. So, your GSA is 50 plus 20, 70. Over annual sales of 500 times cost base per unit, which is lahat naman po ng basis mo. Variable manufacturing cost of 200 at saka fixed manufacturing cost ng 100. So, 300,000 divided by 500. So, that would be 120 over 300 and your markup percentage naman based on manufacturing cost is 40%. Now, 200 plus 100, 300,000 divided by 500 units, yun naman po yung 600. Multiply nyo po naman siya sa 1.4 and your selling price per unit is 840. Same pa din. Okay? So, mag-iiba lang po yung markup percentage. Depende po sa basis nyo ng kung siya ay full cost ba, variable cost lang, absorption cost ba, or talagang lahat ng manufacturing cost. Tapos, iwan si GSA. Okay? So, yun po ang ating pong lesson sa transfer pricing and pricing decisions. And thank you very much for trusting Sir Chua in your lessons for strategic cost management. Iiwan ko lang po sa inyo ang Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Huwag pong pagtitiwalaan ng sarili, huwag aasa sa sarili. Lahat ng aasahan nyo ay ang Panginoon. Dahil siya po ang magbibigay sa atin ng lahat ng wisdom at lahat ng strength upang mapagtagumpayan natin lahat ng bagay na hinaharap natin. In all your ways, submit to Him and He will make your paths straight. ang Panginoon ang bahala sa atin. Siya ang nagligtas sa atin mula sa kapahamakan, kaya dapat tanggapin natin siya sa ating mga puso at papasukin natin siya sa ating buhay. Because lahat ng ito galing sa Panginoon. Okay? And actually, marami nagre-request nito. So, sige, ginawa ko dito. So, pwede nyong screenshot to at lagay nyo yung pangalan nyo. This certificate of recognition is hereby awarded to, tapos your name, for successfully learning all the lessons in the course Strategic Cost Management and in equipping oneself and becoming a good manager. So, kung kailan nyo pa napanood tong video na to, lagay nyo yung date na yon and then sign Kevin Troy Chua, your management accounting lecturer. May mga nagre-request nito na maglagay daw ako ng certificate. Although joke lang to, pero sana ma-appreciate nyo pa rin. Tsaka kung gusto nyo i-my day or ilagay sa Twitter, ilagay nyo sa Twitter, ilagay nyo sa Facebook, sa Instagram. Okay? Para naman masabing natapos nyo yung strat cost kahit sa YouTube University man. Okay? So, yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pong pagtangkilik sa Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH. And for the last time for this subject, please like, share, and subscribe to Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH and hit the notification bell button. Comment down your questions, suggestions, and reactions. This has been Sir Chua's Accounting Lessons PH, and in everything, to God be all the glory, honor, and praise. And I hope that I will see you personally in the future when this pandemic ends, and I hope to give you more video lessons in the future. Thank you and have a great day. Saranghaeyo.